This Guy's Garage. Like and subscribe.
Of military equipment happened under a previous conservative government, and it's something I'm very proud of. And I can tell you that as the official opposition, the Conservative Party has supported the government in every effort that it's made in supporting Ukraine in this brutal war against the Russian invaders. We will continue to do so, and in fact, we've actually asked the government to do more. One of those things that we've been asking for is to provide more armored vehicles to Ukraine. In my recent trip to Ukraine, Pat and I heard directly from both the Office of the President and the Ministry of Defense that they love the Leopard tanks. They love the Senators that we provide and would love to get more. But they also know that donations of things like lavs and M113s, track lavs have been well used in Ukraine, donated from other countries. We are in the process of decommissioning hundreds of older stock that are considered surplus and wore out. I know that Armatech in London has made a proposal to the Government of Canada to refit those vehicles and send them to Ukraine. They can do 8 a month. The Australians and the Americans have said that they would partner in on this if Canada would lead. They have surplus vehicles as well, which Armatech could re-armor, retool, and put in the fight. Where are we at as the Government of Canada and the Canadian Armed Forces in donating these surplus decommissioned vehicles to Armatech and ultimately to Ukraine?
I'll turn to Ty here, who's the expert for donations in the Department of National Defense.
Thank you. Chair, it's a pleasure to be here. Ty Curran, I'm the Deputy Director General for International Security Policy. So the process by which we identify donations that we're providing to Ukraine is relatively straightforward. So at the heart of it is items that Ukraine has asked us for, and we get that through a number of different methods, particularly through the Ukraine Defense Contact Group, which is meeting today in Ramstein, Germany, but as well as directly from the ambassador and Ukrainians that have reached out to us. I think we've worked very hard to ensure that we're meeting those priorities by sending armored vehicles, by sending tanks, by sending some of the other items that the general mentioned. We do have a $500 million funding envelope that's available in this fiscal year to help support Ukraine.
Has that been allocated, or is that still available to other donations?
So parts of it have been allocated. So you would have seen over the weekend the minister made an announcement about our support for an air defense partnership, and so some of that money came out of that allocation. But there are funds that remain in that space, and we continue to look at ways that we can support Ukraine.
So in previous tranches of money that has been earmarked for supporting Ukraine, there's the NASAMS air defense missile system that we are purchasing from the United States. Has that been delivered?
No, it has not.
When will the Ukrainians actually get that piece of kit, which we promised months ago?
So we're working with the United States who produced this piece of equipment, and we're hoping that that's going to be available soon, but there is a production timeline that goes along with it.
You guys are tracking that to make sure that it's delivered in real time, as best as possible?
I mean, absolutely. Part of the challenge has been the availability of systems of that nature, just the global availability of that type of equipment. And so we're working very hard to support that, given that air defense is the #1 priority for the Ukrainians.
On the Leopard 2 tanks that we've sent, how many are they all still in operation, or have any of them been destroyed in battle?
I'll take that one, Mr. Chair. Sorry, I'll take that one, Mr. Chair here. So we had received reports in the past that maybe one tank had been destroyed. Now I'm getting more reporting that that's not the case. So we're still looking into, there's more than our Leopard 2 tanks in theater. Yep. So we're digging into that. We just got early reports this week that it might have not been one of our 8 tanks that have been destroyed. So So
under Operation Unifier, we sent over a number of our Canadian soldiers to help train Ukrainians on our Leopard 2s. That work is completed. Have those soldiers come home, or they've been retasked with other duties in Operation Unifier or under NATO while they're stationed in Europe?
Yeah, Mr. Chair. So again, developing story here. Recently, in discussions with Poland, there was no demand signal for our training, our troops training on Leopard 2. But lately, a couple of weeks ago, we've been asked again to through another course together. So we do have 24 members there conducting what we think is going to be maybe one of the last serial of Leopard 2 training. If there's more asked, we'll be ready to answer again.
I can tell you that when we were there as committee, it was a sombering experience to see our troops training Ukrainian recruits. When I was last in Ukraine under Operation Unifier, and we, as committee, a number of years ago, went to Yavoriv, where we were training Ukrainians along with the Americans and the Brits. We're training experienced soldiers. Now we're training green recruits. And I just wanted to say to all of our forces who are working in Operation Unifier, as well as all those that are working in NATO, including those that are serving in the brigade in Latvia at EFP, NATO, just outside at Ziza. I just want to say thank you for your service. Thank you for standing up for Ukraine. Thank you for standing against the Russian aggression that we're experiencing, not just in Ukraine, but right across the NATO eastern flank and our Arctic. The other thing is, it was touched on about our defense expenditures. And in the CAN for Gen, there was a memo that came out from on September 6th from Deputy Minister Bill Matthews and CDS General Eyre. And in it says, as one of the largest federal departments, national defense has an important role to play in effective and efficient government operations. Early efforts are now underway across the defense team to address our part in this initiative by developing spending reduction options. So my question is this reductions going to impact our ability to support Ukraine, to support our allies in NATO, and of course continue to recruit and retain our forces so that we can take care of things at home here as required?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll answer actually, for sure, the first part, a bit of the second part, and we'll see if Ty has something else to add. So on the infrastructure, our Army, even our Air Force members are always happy to live in tents, and we will do so if there's nothing else to live into. And as we mount the brigade over there, I think the critical infrastructure we need to have a combat-capable brigade to which, in order to do deterrence, we need to exercise. We need to show Russia on the other side that we're ready to jump in. The critical infrastructure we're looking for is a training range, training infrastructure, which is not solved for now. So if headquarters are not there like we did in 2017, we'll continue to operate out of temporary shelters. We're happy to do this. I think the critical piece is how do we create the link between all the bases and the training range that they're looking at right now to bring our equipment? How do we bring our tanks to the field? How do we bring our ammo to the field? How do we train together with Latvians? So Latvians are an amazing partner, and we're discussing weekly with them, actually daily in theater, and we're happy with the way it's going, but there are some pieces of the infrastructure that will be critical for that brigade to be combat capable, and tentage is fine with us. It's just a matter of how we're going to train.
So you mentioned upper tanks again, when we're going to move, I guess, a company of tanks there, right? One thing that's come out through the reporting on the tanks that we donated to Ukraine, and also trying to gear up to have enough tanks to train here, as well as deploy forward into Latvia with our Leopard 2s, is that the state of repair and maintenance on our Leopard 2s is left wanting. Are we doing the heavy overhaul and maintenance on our Leopard 2s to ensure that what we have left is operational, and especially we're down on numbers? And is there any plans to replace Leopard 2s that we did donate to Ukraine for our own Canadian Armed Forces?
So on the first part of the question there, so we are working on our tanks. I mean, we're just sending 8 tanks right now to Latvia because we do need to preposition tanks, like you mentioned, what we call a squadron of tanks. These ones are ship-shape. Now we're working on making sure that the train, because we sent 8 in Ukraine, we're sending some to, so it's more than 8, it's actually 19, I believe. I'll have to come back on the number. But we're sending those tanks to Latvia. The ones we have in Canada are also being well maintained to make sure, to the best of our ability, in order to train there. On the question, the first question of the spending reduction, we are going through the analysis right now. The one thing we're not touching on the spending reduction is the money that's been allocated to our operations there. So there shouldn't be an impact to what we do in Ukraine or what we do in Latvia in what we're looking into the spending reductions right now.